In this video, I'm going to share with y'all exactly how you can pass a medium difficulty technical interview. This is something I've been able to do multiple times. I've not quite been able to pass a very difficult technical interview, but I have multiple times passed medium difficulty technical interviews, and I've also multiple times actually interviewed people. There are tons of companies out there that ask these middle of the road difficulty technical interviews, and if you can pass them, you can get into companies that pay really well and require you to grow a lot. But in order to pass them, you're going to need to know what to study, and that's what this video is going to help you with. If you don't know me, my name is Rishi. I've been a software engineer at CNN for about 7 years. Before that, I worked at a tech startup as a software engineer, and before that, I was actually an investment banking analyst. I ended up quitting my investment banking job, going to a coding boot camp, and broke into tech about 10 years ago now. Let's first talk about what exactly is, man, I got so many thoughts going through my mind. It just takes me a second to gather myself. And my cat is trying to get in the video. So let's bring her into this video. Maybe you can see her. I think I've got the camera up a little high. But anyway, the first thing we're gonna talk about is what is in the interview. What is in a medium difficulty interview? Not all of them are gonna be the same, but generally the structure is gonna be an easy to medium LeetCode style question, and a grilling of the technologies that you've listed on your resume. So let's get into each one of these parts at a time. Maybe also a system design. So let's talk about these two things separately. So an easy to medium LeetCode question. The easiest way to prepare for this is just to do about 40 or 50 LeetCode questions. That's what I did. I would like to do way more actually, and I suggest that you do way more. The more you do, the better you're gonna get at it. But even doing 40 or 50 questions, what's gonna happen is you're gonna understand the major data structures. You're gonna be able to speak to time complexity, space complexity. You're gonna be able to understand why one algorithm is better than the other, be able to talk through your solutions. You need to be able to do that. If you can do that in an interview, if you can solve an easy to medium LeetCode question live while talking your thoughts out loud, explaining what the runtime complexity is of your solution, explaining how you can optimize it, how you could make it better, and then going and doing that. All of that is super, super important. Then the second one is the actual grilling of the technologies on your resume. So this is something that I do when I'm interviewing candidates. I pick some of the technologies on the resume that I'm familiar with, and I start asking them a bunch of questions, starting with the basics and then going deep. I don't expect them to know every single thing, but I expect them to be able to at least know the basics. And then I'm trying to see how far down the rabbit hole they went with a given technology. Just to give you a simple example, if somebody has Docker on their resume, I'm going to ask them what the difference between a Docker image is and a Docker container. And I might go a little bit deeper. Okay, have you used Kubernetes before? What is Kubernetes? And what is a pod? I'm thinking about what is the difference between a Kubernetes, what is a Kubernetes pod versus a Kubernetes service? And they might not know that. They might not have used Kubernetes. Or maybe if they have AWS on their resume, I'm going to ask them to explain Lambda in their own words. And then I might ask them some of the ways they've triggered a Lambda. And I expect to hear things like SQS or an event bridge or a cron, a timer. So these are the types of things I start with, and then I just go deep, trying to see how far down the rabbit hole they've gone with that technology. So this second part of how to prepare is, if you are going to put a technology on your resume, ask yourself some of the basics. Ask yourself out loud some of the basics. Explain the technology, explain parts of the technology in your own words. And then in the actual interview, if you get stuck, do not be afraid to say, I don't know. The last thing you want to do is just speak and make it really obvious that you actually don't know, and then just take up a bunch of space. It's totally okay to say, I actually don't know the answer to that question, but here is what I've used this technology for. Shift the energy back to what you do know, and then share that bit. And then, that is going to really, really at least give the signal to the interviewer of, okay, they've used this technology. I kind of know where their limits are here. Let me explore something else. So that's what I'd recommend. For the third portion, system design, which you may or may not get asked, again, depending on the role. If you're a junior engineer, you might not get asked system design, but mid-level or senior engineer, you almost certainly will get asked some system design type questions. How I prepared for this was I went through LeetCode's 2 courses. So I watched all the system design for beginners course, And then the second course is the actual system design interview course. And what I would do was I would watch the prompt. So the prompt might say something like design Twitter, design YouTube. And obviously you're not going to design the whole thing. You're going to design a feature of it, or you're gonna, a portion of it. But I would watch the prompt, and then I would talk out loud as if I'm answering the interview, and then I'd watch how he responded. And then I went through that twice. Like I went through all the videos twice. Once just watching some of the videos just to get an initial feel, and the second time actually pausing the video after the prompt and trying myself, and then seeing how he answered the question differently than me. So that's how I prepare for the system design portion. Again, all these types of things will really help you pass that medium level difficulty technical interview. I'm hoping that this video can help somebody else out there pass the technical interview, prepare for technical interview, and get the job. So that's all I have for y'all, and I'll talk to you on the next one.